Insubordination. Did you know that insubordination is part of human nature? Allah Ta'ala says, بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَكْثَرَ شَيْءٍ جَدَلًا. That the human being has ever been, more than anything, he is prone to dispute. Human beings love to debate, to argue, and to say no, to push back. In Arabic, the word for insubordination is al-inad. Al-inad. And when Allah Ta'ala is describing the battle between good and evil, between prophets who are spreading the good and those who are opposing them, Allah Ta'ala tells us in Surah Ibrahim that the prophets and the righteous, they make dua and they pray for victory, saying, وَاسْتَفْتَحُوا. They ask Allah and they request that victory is given to them. وَخَابَ كُلُّ جَبَّارٍ عَنِيدٍ. And every insubordinate tyrant is disappointed. Yes, insubordination leads to disappointment. Why is that the case? Well, because when you are insubordinate, you cannot be unified. You refuse to be on the same program as one another. And therefore, divide and conquer. You become beaten, and therefore you are disappointed. And furthermore, we all know that success comes from submission to a rigorous training regiment in anything in life. You could see this with regards to sports, education, anything in life. If you want to be a success, you have to become subordinate. You have to submit to a rigorous process, day in and day out. Not because you feel like it, but because this is the regiment and it's going to get you to success. There will be moments where you doubt. But it doesn't matter, you have to keep pushing forward. We know this, that throughout history, apprenticeship was the way the world worked for a long time. This man is going to be your teacher, my dear son. Do what he says. You might not understand right away, but in the end it'll make sense. This idea of being an apprentice and submitting yourself and being subordinate to a process, this was the way of success, it still is. Now that the summer break is ending, it's a good time to assess your own behavior. If perhaps you joined a sports team, or you got some sort of summer job, or you went to summer school, or you were in some sort of summer intensive, or you went on some camping trip, whatever the case may be, you can make an assessment of yourself. And keep in mind that subordination is not just to Allah Ta'ala. Yes, of course, first and foremost to Allah, but Allah Ta'ala tells us that we have to be subordinate to our leaders as well. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَأُولُو الْأَمْرِ مِنْكُمْ. Oh, you have believed. Obey Allah, obey His Messenger, and those in authority amongst you. The Prophet ﷺ tells us, إِذَا كَانَ ثَلَاثَةٌ فِي سَفَرٍ فَلْيُؤَمِّرُوا أَحَدَهُمْ. When three of you are on a journey, then they should appoint as an amir, one of them. Anytime you're in a group, there should be someone who is the responsible one, the amir, and you are supposed to be subordinate to that person. Obviously, only in that which is halal, obviously. You can't obey in that which is haram, but still, there is supposed to be a sense of structure. And perhaps this is one of the most easily neglected commands of the Prophet ﷺ, when he tells us that you have to have an amir. You're supposed to listen to the amir. And by the way, this is also true of professionals. In our community, certain people are professionals. And Allah Ta'ala tells us twice in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the professional. أهل الذِّكْر can mean the people of remembrance, the people of the reminder. It can also mean the person who does that subject often. Ahl al-dhikr, the person who deals with a subject over and over and over again. He's a specialist. And so you should ask that person if you don't know something. Nowadays, there are some Muslims who will constantly demonstrate how they are subordinate to no one. I do my own thing. If there's a trip we're supposed to go on for a number of days, from this date to that date, I'll show up late. I'll leave early. I'll do my own thing. Yeah, someone might ask, why not just not go? Why not just say, you know what, I can't submit to the schedule, therefore I'll see you guys next time, next summer. No. It doesn't matter. I will come, and I'll insist that I show up late. I'll insist that I leave early. I'll insist that I'm doing it on my own way. And if you're inside of some sort of camp, or you have a certain coach, and you have certain programs scheduled, there are some Muslims, they want to make it a point. When it's time, let's say, we're going to go running. Now I need to go check my messages. Sorry, just real quick, I need to make some calls. Okay, now it's time to read the Quran, everybody. All right, pull out your Quran, your mushaf. Now's a good time for a snack, I'm a little hungry. Okay, well now's a good time for a group discussion. Really? I think I'm going to take a shower, I think I'm going to go take a nap. I'm kind of feeling tired. There are some people, It doesn't matter what the plan is, they always have to show, no, I do my own thing. If we have sports in the masjid, we often hire a non-Muslim coach, because if it's a Muslim coach, we know that the instructions are going to be respected much less. It's quite sad, but it's true. But this isn't just amongst the youth. I speak to Muslim professionals all the time in this community. They tell me about it, plenty, who say that Muslims can be some of the most difficult customers to deal with. They say, look, I'm not trying to be biased, I'm just saying the facts. It's sad to say, but some of the most difficult customers. The Muslim doctor tells his client, his Muslim brother client, listen, this is how you get better. I think I'll try it my own way. It's like, I'm the professional, why can't you believe me? You know? Whether it be the Muslim lawyer who says, listen, to my client, I'm telling you, you need to get these documents in order. No thanks, I think we're going to go with a different lawyer. Usually a non-Muslim, because they feel like that's more credible. Why? Why does this attitude exist? And I've heard from Muslim business owners telling me that the most difficult employees are the Muslims themselves. They're not reliable, they're not responsible, they don't have any vision, they just don't do the job. Muslim restaurant owners telling me that, man, Muslims expect a free meal, they want discounts, they're entitled, they don't want to submit to the actual cost. Why? Because they're in fact insubordinate. No, that's what the number is? I don't need that number, I'll do my own number. So the question is, where does this insubordination come from? I would like you to remember this one line, because I think it's very true and I think it's very powerful. So if you get nothing else, please pay attention to this. When you as a human being, when you feel free, then the greatest thing you can do is submit to what's best. When you in your heart, you feel that you're a free man or woman, then you realize, with this freedom, I can't just do anything and everything. When you're free, you feel like what? I need to submit to that which is best. But when you feel enslaved, when you feel like you are oppressed, what happens? Then the greatest thing you can do is rebel. When you feel enslaved and oppressed, you feel like the greatest thing you can do is rebel. And I do believe that the Muslim Ummah is in a state right now of subjugation. We feel stripped of our dignity. We feel like the Muslims who were under Fir'aun, Bani Israel, those were the believers at that time. And when they were under Fir'aun, they developed that slave mentality. And it showed in many different ways. It showed in the way that they treated each other. We know Musa a.s. was raised different. He was raised with dignity in the palace. And so when he saw his fellow Israelite being mistreated and beaten, what did he do? He defended him. He struck the Coptic and accidentally killed him because he was more strong than he realized. What happens next? فأصبح في المدينة خائفا يترقب فإذا الذي استنصره بالأمس يستصرخه. And he went inside the city fearful and anticipating. He was nervous. Am I going to get exposed? Because he knows that he killed somebody yesterday accidentally. And then all of a sudden he sees the guy who he had helped yesterday, the same guy. يستصرخه. He's calling him out, saying, Musa, help me again, I'm in another fight. SubhanAllah, a dignified person doesn't keep begging for help over and over and over again. If you get helped once, that's enough. Now I have to figure it out myself. But if you strip a human being of their dignity and you treat a human being like an animal, then they might behave like animals. And we know how animals behave. I'm sure you've seen the signs. What does it say? It says, don't feed the animals. If you feed them, they'll just keep coming back for more and more and more. You guys have seen that? You feed the ducks, they keep coming back. You feed, they keep coming back, right? Why? Because they're animals. They don't have that sense of dignity. They've been stripped of it, or humans couldn't be stripped of it. And so they just keep coming back over and over again. So this believer, this Muslim, but unfortunately he had this issue. He was calling out, Musa, help me a second time. And then what does Musa a.s. say? قَالَ لَهُ مُوسَى إِنَّكَ لَغَوِيٌّ مُبِينٌ. He says, indeed, you are clearly a persistent deviator. Musa a.s. expressed criticism, and the Israelite couldn't take it. Why? Because enslaved people feel the need to overcompensate. They act superior, they want to brag, they become overly aggressive. Why? To hide their own insecurity. And do you see this in the Ummah sometimes? Yeah, certain people, the slightest criticism, who are you to tell me? They get real aggressive. If a non-Muslim were to say something, okay, yes sir, sure sir, whatever you say. But the moment a Muslim offers criticism, you can't tell me nothing. They have to prove. Where's this coming from? Like I said, there's a hidden insecurity. As the expression goes, hurt people hurt people. Very powerful expression and very true. فَلَمَّا أَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يَبْطِشَ بِالَّذِي هُوَ عَدُوٌ لَهُمَا. So when he wanted to strike the one who was an enemy to both, Musa alayhi salam was willing to help a second time. Imagine, Musa alayhi salam's like, okay, well, you clearly have a problem, but I'll try to figure it out. What happens next? Because his ego, this Israelite's ego, was flared up. قال يا موسى أتريد أن تقتلني كما قتلت نفسا بالأمس. Oh Musa, do you intend to kill me like you killed somebody else yesterday? Subhanallah. Musa alayhi salam was willing to help him again, but since the Israelite was criticized, he went into hyper defense mode, taking the worst possible shot by exposing Musa alayhi salam's criticism, completely inconsiderate of the damage he was doing, and ignoring the fact that the only reason Musa alayhi salam had a secret to begin with was because he helped him yesterday. I only have this secret because I was helping you, and now you're going to use it against me? Subhanallah. When you've been abused, you never trust anybody. You're always thinking, no, I know your intent. You're not really trying to help me, you're trying to be arrogant. This is exactly what he says. إِن تُرِيدُ إِلَّا أَن تَكُونَ جَبَّارًا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَمَا تُرِيدُ أَن تَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُصْلِحِينَ. You just want to be an arrogant tyrant. You're not actually trying to help. SubhanAllah, I helped you yesterday in the biggest way. And now you're saying you were never trying to help me. That was never your intent. I know your evil intent. Why? Why does the oppressed person develop this mentality? Well, here's the domino effect. Suffering abuse leads to distrust. Distrust leads to evil assumptions about others. And then when you have these evil assumptions, you feel justified in treating others badly. Why? Because I assume bad about you anyhow. So you know what? I'm justified in treating you terribly. And this is exactly what he did. This applies to men. This applies to women as well. We find that in our society here, the American culture has a very particular message, specifically to Muslim women. What is it? The American message to Muslim women is, you can be as religious as you want. You're in America, you're free. If you want to wear the hijab, if you want to wear the niqab, if you want to pray, if you want to fast, if you want to memorize the Quran, you can do all of that. You are free to do so. But remember one thing, don't let a man tell you how to be religious. Don't let a man. Why? Because you're in America now. I don't know where you came from, I don't know what you suffered in the past, but here in America, don't let a man tell you how to be religious. Brilliant propaganda. SubhanAllah. Obviously, from an Islamic perspective, there's no truth to this. The truth is the truth. Quran and Sunnah is Quran and Sunnah. It doesn't matter if it comes from a man, a woman, tall, short, black, white, old, young. We don't care. But man, it's good propaganda. It feels good, doesn't it? When you say it with sincerity, you're free now. This is America. Really feels powerful. And this stuff works. And so, as a community, naturally, we're going to try to adjust. We're going to try to adjust by bringing in female speakers. And unfortunately, sometimes the attendance from sisters is very low. So what do you call that? If you won't listen to the men, if you won't listen to the women, insubordination. That's all it is. I don't want to submit to anybody. This is built into the American psyche, because the country itself was founded on rebelling against the British. We don't submit to nobody. And this is most evident, I would say, subhanAllah, when it comes to religious leadership. What? Submit to God? No. Of course not. We got rid of all that religious clergy, all that authority. This is America. We don't do that. And if you want proof of that, take a look whenever a pastor or a priest visits the White House, under any administration. You'll always find that they're not invited for their insight regarding war, or economics, or immigration, or anything serious. These religious figures, they go to the White House, what happens next? They take a selfie with the president, they make a quick prayer, and then they say some motivational words. And this is the attitude that seeps into the American mindset. That religious leaders are not leaders at all. They're motivational speakers. Let's be honest. Don't worry, it's not going to hurt my feelings. But it's the truth. The word imam means a leader. But in the West, the imam should be called motivational speaker. Why? Because that's actually their function. The imam gives out weekly instructions. These are the things we should do as a community. But let's be honest, how do people react? The reaction is, that was a good speech. It was nice. I think I might do one of those things, maybe. Is that really a leader? No, that's motivational speaking. It's reminiscent of the famous quote from Ali ibn Abi Talib, anhu, who has one of the best burns I've ever heard. And it has echoed throughout the ages. It's such a funny burn. One time, أن رجلا من الخوارج الذين خرجوا على علي بن طالب جاء إلى علي فقال له يا علي ما بال الناس قد تغيروا عليك ولم يتغيروا على أبي بكر وعمر. So one of these Khawarij, these rebellious types that fought against Ali, one time he saw Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he was the Khalifa of course, and he says to him, "Oh Ali, why is it the case that underneath Abu Bakr and Umar things were good and nobody rebelled against them? Things were smooth, the Ummah was united under Abu Bakr and Umar, and now you're the Khalifa, you're in charge, right? Under your leadership things are falling apart, there's disunity. Whose fault is that?" Seems like a pretty good question, but Ali, being the genius that he is, he says what? لأن رجال أبي بكر وعمر أنا وأمثالي ورجالي أنت وأمثالك. Brilliant. He says, because Abu Bakr and Umar had followers like me, whereas me, my men, are followers like you. Absolutely genius. But it's the truth that we have to realize that it's not about the leadership. You have to ask, are the people willing to follow or are they insubordinate? People always ask, oh, when is the strength of the ummah going to come back with someone like Salahuddin? Salahuddin had people around him. He didn't do it by himself. So inshallah we'll continue and conclude in the second khutbah. Wa sallallahu alayhi wa Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam kathira. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah. Please take a few, go up, fill the gaps a little bit. We have a lot of people at the back, if you can make some space. I want you, for every adult here, I would like you to remember in your childhood. I want you to remember, take a second to really think about all the times somebody bullied you, somebody hurt you, somebody broke your toys, somebody humiliated you, somebody embarrassed you. What was the reaction of the adults around you? Whether we're talking about your parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, teachers, or your friends' parents, they'd always say something along the lines of, listen, I know you guys, you young kids, you're fighting, you had a problem, bullying, kicking, punching, screaming, insulting, whatever. You guys got to talk it out. You guys got to get over it, you got to make amends, you got to move on. Why? Why? Because you're siblings. Or because you're family, you have to stick together. Or because you're friends, you have to stay friends, it's important. Or maybe they'd say, look, you're Muslims, we have to be united. Everybody remembers this? I believe, inshallah, everybody has memories like this. Now, do you remember when you were a kid and you first realized that those same adults were holding grudges against their own parents, or siblings, or cousins, or childhood friends? I don't know about you, but I remember the day I discovered this, I was absolutely shocked. I could not believe the level of hypocrisy. I was a young kid and I discovered, wait, what? The same people saying, family sticks together, family sticks together. He hasn't spoken to his brother in how long? He hasn't spoken to his cousin in how long? He hasn't spoken to his, he cut this person off, cut. Wait, what? It was one of the most shocking, I don't know if you remember that, I actually remember being so shocked. The same people who are talking about unity, the same people who are saying it's absolutely, and by the way, it's even worse when you find out the reason. Because you're like, wait, they were pushing me, they were kicking me, they were breaking my stuff, they were calling me names and chanting, they were being so mean, you said get over it. And why are you holding a grudge? Oh, well, I was at a wedding once and he gave me a weird look, so we don't talk anymore. What? What? That's it? I remember being so shocked when I discovered the hypocrisy. So, to the youth that are listening, get ready for the disappointment of a lifetime. It's scary. So many of the adults that are telling you to drop your grudges, they themselves are holding grudges for something way smaller. It's sad, but it's true and it happens. Why? Simply put, because you as a child are subordinate to adults, so they make you get over it, whereas the adults are insubordinate. So they don't practice what they preach. May Allah Ta'ala forgive us. What is the solution? How can we fix this? Number one, every successful person, like I said, becomes successful based on their ability to submit to a process of improvement, an incremental and rigorous program that develops slowly. You can't look at this process, this reality, and accept it when it comes to dunya, and then reject it when it comes to deen. If you are going to submit yourself to a rigorous process when it comes to your dunya, I go through school, even if I don't like the teacher, even if I don't like the exam, even if I don't like the program, whatever it is, I got to get up in the morning, I got to keep going, take a coffee, do whatever I got to do, I'm going to push through it. When it comes to deen, it's okay, don't worry about it. Doesn't make sense. You can't expect success if you have this attitude. Every nation is successful because they trust each other and work together and overlook each other's weaknesses. Advice stays in-house. Business stays in-house. Our money, who do I spend for? Even if I don't like the guy's price. He charges a little too much, I'm still going to go to him. Why? Because the money stays in-house. Husnul dhann, assuming the best of your brother. Yeah, he can be a little bit annoying sometimes. You know what? That's okay. He's my brother in Islam. Money stays in-house. Advice stays in-house. Marriage stays in-house, etc. That is how you become successful, not just because you feel like it. Islam shouldn't be based on your mood. It doesn't change like the weather. The success of the ummah shouldn't rely on vibes. Yeah, I'm feeling it today. Who cares? Either it's something real or it's not. And point number 2, if as an ummah we want to have a sense of izzah and honor, I know it's very difficult when we look at the Muslim countries that are being subjugated to all sorts of abuse. May Allah Ta'ala give us victory. Ameen. But if it is the case that oppressors destroyed your country and forced you to move so that now you work and you live and you serve in this country or any other Western country, and you might feel defeated, humiliated from this physical defeat, at least, alhamdulillah, you have the ability while living here to still become intellectually intimidating. What do I mean by that? You can learn enough and study enough and prove that Muslims dominate in honest and fair discussion every single time. So even if you don't win the physical, you can still win intellectually. وَجَعَلَ كَلِمَةَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا السُّفْلَى وَكَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ هِيَ الْعُلْيَا. Allah made the word of those who disbelieve the lowest and made the word of Allah the highest. You still have the ability to do that. That is a way that you can win, that no one can take it away from you. But if your answer when I say this is, no, I think I'd rather lose intellectually too. If that is your attitude, then wallahi al-azim, I don't know if I can help you. Wallahi, I don't know if I can help you. If you feel that you've lost physically, and I'm saying, well, at least win intellectually, you're like, sounds like it's going to cause some effort. That's not my thing. You know what? I'd rather lose intellectually too. MashaAllah, I'm very happy if you think that your dignity comes from your wealth. I have a fancy car, so that makes me the man. But what happens when you drive up in your fancy car, get out of the car, and then someone yells out, Islam is an evil cult, and you people are brainwashed. And your only move is to do what? Get right back into that fancy car and drive really fast? That's not honor. That's not dignity. You should have something to say. You should be able to dominate intellectually. Money's not going to save you then. We don't want to be exactly like the Prophet ﷺ predicted. One day there will be what? وَلَيَنْزِعَنَّ اللَّهُ مِنْ صُدُورِ عَدُوِّكُمْ الْمَهَابَ مِنْكُمْ. And Allah will take the fear of you from the chests of your enemies. They will have no fear of you whatsoever. This is a prediction that the Prophet ﷺ said. At least if they don't have the fear when it comes to the political scene, at least there should be something when it comes to the intellectual. That guy walked in the room, hey man, can't debate with that guy. He's going to own the place. He dominates every single time. May Allah Ta'ala make us a people of izzah. May Allah Ta'ala give us strength and honor. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala make us of those who depend upon each other, not just because we feel like it, but even when we don't feel like it. May Allah Ta'ala give us husnul dhann and remove from us any sort of slave mentality where we are distrusting of each other and we are always the worst to one another. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt, wa afina fi man afayt, wa tawallana fi man tawallayt, wa barik lana fi ma a'tayt, wa qina شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت باركت ربنا وتعاليت ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم كثيرا واقم الصلاة.